So, Elsie, now that the Austrian Grand Prix is out the way, what is the next round of the 2017 Formula 1 World Championship?
Well, I'm not too sure, but I think it's Silverstone, isn't it? Yeah, the British Grand Prix.
Yeah, I think it is, and I think that British Week starts, that the F1 debate should do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course, British Week, aye.
And it starts today!
Today!
No. Welcome to the GP Preview Show. Round 10, Silverstone, Great Britain. For 4 days of the year, the Formula 1 circus rolls into town at its home Grand Prix, its home route where it all started. Now, just coming off the back of Austria, where it was absolutely brilliant scenery, the sun was shining, you had the hills covered in green, so then obviously you think, oh, the next Grand Prix at Britain, you know, the home Grand Prix, it should be the nicest Grand Prix. No. All you see is campsites, people, track, and grey skies. So, yeah, welcome to Britain, everybody. So, if you're over here for the first time, I'm saying nothing. Anyways, so as always, on a very special GP Preview show, with that being our home race, we're going to do our predictions. Now, I've only just woken up from the last Grand Prix, I must say, so you know I'm just aware of what's going on. But before I do start these predictions, I just wanted to clarify something quickly. Now, there's been a lot of rumours and everything about this so-called Valtteri Bottas start. Now, wasn't there? Whether they jumped the start or not. Now, I'm going to confirm it. I'm going to confirm it right now here. So you've heard it here, you know, first. Valtteri Bottas didn't jump the start because he was sitting in an F1 car. How is it possible to jump in an F1 car? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Oh, wow. If everyone was like, "Oh, he jumped the start," no, he was sitting down. Anyways, so my top three for the British Grand Prix is I'm going to go from third to first, you know, just to build up the suspense. Now, in third place, I've gone with Sebastian Vettel, the Ferrari. Now, Sebastian Vettel has just extended his lead over Lewis Hamilton to 20 points now, which is a very healthy lead. But you've got to remember, that's less than a race win away. So if Lewis Hamilton was to finish the Grand Prix and win the Grand Prix, let's say, and Sebastian Vettel was to retire, then Hamilton's now got a 5-point advantage over Sebastian Vettel. So it's still a lot to play for, but obviously he's just got to try and keep digging at that lead and getting away from Lewis Hamilton. He seems to do it either way. But it's been a while since he last won a Grand Prix. I think it was Spain? Was it? No, I can't remember. Was it Spanish Grand Prix he won? Was the last Grand Prix he won? Yes, it was.
Spain, yeah.
Yeah, it was
no, Monaco. Monaco. He won Monaco.
Was it Monaco?
Monaco.
It was Monaco. Yes, that's right. Monaco. Yes, my bad. Because obviously you had the Ferrari. You had the Ferrari one too. I couldn't remember. It was around that point anyway. So obviously it's been a while since his last win. So I don't think it's going to get it this weekend. Obviously you probably have to find out who I'm going to put in P2 or P1. But he is due a win. And if there's a time to get a Grand Prix win, it needs to be now, or at least stay ahead of Lewis Hamilton, because, as like I said, 20-point lead. It's very, very healthy. He needs to keep this form if he wants to have a really good shout in the championship. Now, for P2, I'll go with Valtteri Bottas. Now, Valtteri Bottas winning the Austrian Grand Prix. To be fair, what a drive it was. To be fair, I mean, yes, that means his reaction time at the start was spot on. It wasn't, obviously, jokes aside of what I said at the start, it wasn't a jump start. In my opinion, it was literally. If it was a millisecond slower, it would have been a jump start. That's how good it was, in my opinion. It was a brilliant start, led the way, and just sailed into the Austrian hills, and just, you know, the hills are alive with the sound of the hills are alive with the sound of Valtteri Bottas. In my opinion, it was just gone, puff of smoke, and he was away. Only lost the lap, only lost the lead for a couple of laps, or a couple, you know, when Kimi Raikkonen was out and about, when he didn't stop. But I mean, other than that, superb driving. I've gone with him in P2. So you're probably thinking, I know who's got in P1, isn't it? Obviously, it has to be Lewis Hamilton. Now, yes, he won the British Grand Prix last year. I mean, obviously, we were there to witness it. It was absolutely incredible, honestly. I mean,
we weren't because obviously, as you know, the failure of British Week just showed that we weren't there.
Yes, what a failure that was. It was a good idea, but you know, maybe
good.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe someone else.
Well, actually, we're going to start again, guys. Remember, welcome to episode 1.
Yes, this is episode 1 of British Week on Thursday. Anyway, so
well,
yes,
you know, start late, succeed, burn bright. You know, we can't fail this time.
Hopefully not. Anyways, you know, this is there for the bitch after all. Anything can happen. So I've gone with Lewis Hamilton to be the home favourite to actually win the Grand Prix. Now it would be absolutely incredible to do it yet again. This would be his 4th time of winning. Oh my word! My stats today are absolutely awful.
Yes, they are. So so he won in 2008, 2014, 2015, and 2016. So that's not. So 2008,
so
2014, 2015, 2016. Yes, it'd be
so it could be his 5th win. My bad. Yes, it
yeah,
that
5th,
was awful.
yeah.
I'm doing really bad today. So
don't worry, you're not as bad. Sorry, you're not as bad as Niki Lauda, who was questioned the other day. Obviously with Lewis Hamilton's grid penalty, he said, I think it was Ted Kravitz said to him, he said, Niki, what's... Obviously he qualified 3rd, so he went, Niki, what's 3 plus 5? Without a split second, Niki went, 9. And then they all looked and they were like, what?
What?
I love that. It just went, what's 3 times... Was it? No, what's 5 plus 3? He just went, 9. I love that. It was good. Anyway, sorry. It was funny by the Austrian... Amazing man of Niki Lauda, but yeah.
Obviously, yes. Obviously, making a fool of himself at his hometown. So yes. So obviously, I think Lewis Hamilton will win the Grand Prix. For anyone who is going, well, actually, if this is your first time going to the British Grand Prix, you will enjoy it. It was, I mean, when we did it last year, it was absolutely incredible. But we're not going to ramble about last year. Last year is done. This year is this year. So obviously, my top 3: Lewis Hamilton to win the race, Valtteri Bottas to come in second, and Mercedes 1-2, and Sebastian Vettel in P3. Lyle, what's your predictions for the British Grand Prix? Tell me.
Well, they were good predictions. They were very, very good, obviously, as I saw. I mean, I knew who you were going to put in first place. I think a lot of other people thought you were going to put that man in first place. Obviously, very, very strong from him. Wins in front of his home crowd, obviously, from Stevenage. Not too far away, so it's going to be strong by him. Yep. So I'm going to start with... No, I'm going to start with 1, with first place to third place. And I'm doing that because, obviously... I think there's no point in building up suspense that I'm going to put Lewis Hamilton in first place. I think we all know that. I'm going to put him, and obviously Jordan knows that as well. So, obviously, first place for him, really strong from him. So, in second place, I'm going to go with Max Verstappen. Now, a lot of people will be thinking to yourself, why? Because as his teammate has had 5 podiums, he's had 5 retirements. It's from the front to the back. You know, like for 5 races in the trot, it's like, you know, not great for Max Verstappen. Obviously, we've got to say a big condolences to obviously all of the Dutch fans, all of the orange that we saw in Spielberg. Very upsetting for you guys. Obviously, it really wasn't great, and obviously a lot of times, well, when like the helicopter was doing shots of you know, obviously, you know, the lovely backdrop of the Austrian Alps and stuff like that, and you could just see the orange that separated the two like little grandstands, and it was obviously not very good from there. Obviously, condolences, but I hope you enjoyed the race, obviously. So yeah, Max in second place. Another reason why I'm saying this is because obviously Red Bull want to be coming back for him. Just for him, mind. Obviously, they want to be building a better car, but obviously just for him because they know that he'll be frustrated compared to obviously his teammate who's had, as I say, 5 podiums when he's been in DNF, sat in the garage watching him. Obviously, based in Milton Keynes as well, so obviously they'll be getting a lot of home support as well. Just coming like back-to-back home races. But actually, yeah, right. That's Red Bull is the only team that has had a back-to-back home race. Obviously, their Red Bull's headquarters in obviously in Austria, and then obviously they come to Silverstone, which is obviously the manufacturer Red Bull race, and obviously based in Milton Keynes as well. So be strong from them. Good batting, obviously Max Verstappen, love winning the world, obviously, and obviously only a city hop, only the ocean in the way between Holland and England, so obviously many Dutch fans will come over for this race. Second place in Max Verstappen, and in third place obviously is his teammate Daniel Ricciardo. The reason that I think he'll get into that is obviously because, as I say, Red Bull, very strong team race. Probably one of their biggest home races. Obviously, you know, a lot of teams obviously based out of the UK, very strong from them. And obviously, he'll want to keep up his podium streak. So that'll be 6 podiums in 8 races. Obviously, now it's 5 and 7. It'll be 6 and 8 on Sunday. Strong from him. Obviously, another shoey done by obviously all those drivers as well. Hopefully, the better sports than Valtteri Bottas was. Obviously, yeah, very strong by them. And obviously, just quickly on Daniel Ricciardo as well. I mean, we're not too sure why he said this. Probably because it was home race, and obviously, I'll say he just extend his streak. But he said that the the podium that he got in Austria was stronger than the win that he got in Baku. And I know that sounds strange, but I know where he's coming from when you think about, you know, what is going on in the Australian psyche, because you think he's fought for that position. He really has. It's like tooth and nail. You know, obviously he had some great competition as well from the drivers coming up behind. Really strong from that. And obviously, as I say, 5 races just extends his streak. So great by him. Great start of the season. Really, really great. This is his best season in Formula 1. Obviously beating 2014 when he had his first 3 races. But very strong. Obviously a British driver, Mercedes driver, and then obviously 2 Red Bull drivers. All British teams as well. And again, obviously Mercedes based in Germany, but also they're based in Brackley, the manufacturer. So obviously 3 British teams. Britain, Netherlands and Australia on the podium for the Silverstone Grand Prix. It'll be great podium as well, and obviously also as well, I don't know if I mentioned that, but remember Max's race last year, obviously finished 3rd, but obviously then he got promoted to 2nd when Nico got demoted. Great race by him. We saw that in the wet. Fantastic, and yeah, that is my podium for Silverstone.
Not bad, I must say. Obviously, I mean, Daniel Ricciardo is on some superb form right now, isn't he? I mean, I'm a big fan of him right now. I mean, I love his team radio message when he's like, the hashtag Ricciardo Raw, as it was trending on Twitter shortly after the race. But I mean, obviously, despite obviously how boring the Grand Prix was, in my opinion, I thought the last 2 laps and then Daniel Ricciardo. I don't know, it's just something about Daniel Ricciardo that like. It's just, yeah, it was okay. Oh, it was a really bad Grand Prix, but you want Ricciardo on the podium because he does the shoey. It's just, just his smiles, and you're like, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Jordan. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, obviously, the amazing thing with Daniel Ricciardo, it reminds me of obviously JB as well. I mean, unfortunately, JB. I mean, when he was in a winning car, I mean, obviously, when he was on the podium, it's those kind of drivers that are really nice and they play ball. Really, they just love the crowd. They're a born entertainer. That's what's great about it. And obviously, as I say, the shoey as well. I mean, some of his legendary race. I mean, I think the best like duo that I've seen on there was obviously when it was his win. Yes, it was his win in Malaysia, I think it was, and Mark Webber was on the podium, obviously fellow Australian. They did the shoey together. Their camaraderie was great. Again, obviously you had Gerard Butler, Patrick Stewart on, and obviously Martin Brundle as well. When they've been on the podium with Daniel Ricciardo, obviously doing the shoey, fantastic. And as I say, Jordan, I mean, yeah, he's a born entertainer. I think that's the thing. I mean, you've got Formula 1 on one side, and people like, when they've had interviews with Sky Sports have said that Formula 1, it's almost like doing a good PR campaign. You've got to be nice to the sponsors and that, but I think Daniel goes like above and beyond to be nice in front of the cameras, to be always on, always smiling, and it's great. The only time we've never seen him smile was obviously when with Monaco 2016, when obviously he lost the no, it wasn't. Yes, it was when obviously he lost the race win. And obviously we saw him frowning, but again he was smiling. And there's been a few times when he's been obviously lost races, DNF, what have you, but he's still put on a smile, gone the extra mile, and as I say, I mean, John, I mean, that's what makes him one of the best drivers in the car and out of the car. And obviously again the shoey, as I say, doing it with those celebrities is great. I remember even Patrick Stewart, obviously an amazing actor, obviously through Star Trek and everything, obviously knighted over in the UK, great guy, and he got him to do the shoey. Well, he didn't get him to do it, he wanted to do the shoey. Patrick Stewart even knew what he was doing, and as I say, I mean, some of those moments were fantastic. As I say, Gerard Butler's done it. It really makes you like laugh and smile. Obviously, it's great, absolutely fantastic. And I think Martin Brundle even said, because as I say, he does the commentary on Sky Sports F1, and then he went off and did the podium interviews, and he said to DC, David Croft, that is, that I'm going to do the shoey, and he was like, oh wow, how amazing, and yeah, it must be great. But just a born entertainer, honestly. If he didn't go into Formula 1, I think he'd have still done something like stand-up comedy, something like that. You know what I mean?
That would actually be. I'll actually pay decent money to go and see Daniel Ricciardo in stand-up comedy, or either that or singing. Because we all know that he does like to sing song now and then. But obviously that's our predictions done. That's our roundup on Daniel Ricciardo done. It's now time for the most intense battle in Formula 1, which is obviously Friday the Grid. Now, currently, Lyle leads by 2.5 points after the last round in Austria. Very, very impressive round, I must say. So now I must say, it's been a bit of fun recently, obviously, despite how close it's actually been, which is very surprising, which I'm actually very happy about, and both of us as well.
Oh yeah.
Because I was like, I hope one of us doesn't dominate, and the other ones are, it's like other ones like fell behind. But it's actually been quite close.
Or if one person does dominate, I hope it's me. No, exactly. Obviously, yeah, we wanted a fight. Obviously.
It's been really close. So yes, 2.5. Lyle has ahead. So now the pressure is on me to actually do well at the British Grand Prix. My home race, let's go back and do it well. So here is Friday the Grid for the British Grand Prix. Tally hero chap, it is Jordan for the British Grand Prix Friday the Grid. Standing just in front of St James's Park. God's Arena, just for anyone noticing.
Right. Question 1. Silverstone is in 2 counties. What are they?
Buckinghamshire and Northamptonshire.
Correct. Very good. Good start. Question 2. The British Grand Prix is tied in terms of the biggest multi-stage event in the United Kingdom? Name the other event.
Is this another type of sport?
Yes, another type of sport,
Is
yeah.
it FA Cup final?
No, I'm sorry, it's Wimbledon. Tennis, yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Right, question 3, and this isn't a Formula 1 question, this is more of a British question, okay? On the Formula 1 calendar, okay, all but 2 countries, or should I say only 2 countries, drive on the left-hand side of the road, okay? So like,
Alright, okay.
right-hand drive and then left-hand side on the road. Name the other country.
God. It'll be... So obviously Britain's one of them, they'll drive on the left-hand side.
Yep.
And the other one, do you know what, that is actually a very good question, I have absolutely no idea. I'm going to say Australia.
That is correct.
Is it?
That is
wow,
correct.
I'm thinking British logical
Yep.
there.
All the other countries drive on the right-hand side of the road. Question 3. In what percentage to the nearest 5% are campers for the British Grand Prix? The people who take tents and motorhomes and camp out on the British Grand Prix site.
Probably quite high. It's almost like Glastonbury. It's like a festival. And we did see a lot of them, so...
I'll give you a clue. It's highest in the Formula 1 calendar.
I thought it would be. I'm going to say about 75%.
Oh, it's not that high, I'm afraid. It's 45.
45.
But that is still very, very high.
Oh, yeah, that is.
Question 5. How many laps is the 2017 British Grand Prix?
It'll be, is it 57?
52. Question 6. What is the origin of Silverstone Circuit? Meaning, what was it before it became a Formula 1 track?
An airbase, wasn't it? It was an airbase, like World War II airbase.
Yep, World War II airbase, correct. Question 6.
7. I'll keep it right.
What was the most successful constructor at Silverstone, at the British Grand Prix?
Dear oh dear, now, whoa. There's 2 teams that... There's a third team that I'm not really too sure, but there's 2 teams that obviously on my mind. It's going to be 50-50, and I'm going to say McLaren.
What was your other team?
Ferrari.
Yeah, you should have said that.
Ah, never.
15 wins came from them. Question 8. There's 2 drivers tied for the most successful drivers at Silverstone Circuit. Name the 2 drivers.
Now this could be anybody because this has been on the calendar since what, 1950. So let's go. Graham Hill and Lewis Hamilton.
Both drivers are wrong, I'm afraid. Alain Prost is the first one, okay, with 5 wins. But then the second one, and you'll really kick yourself when you don't get this one, it's Jim Clark.
Oh, never! Why didn't I know? Jim Clark, my favourite F1
right.
driver. He's definitely my favourite.
Right, question 9. How many corners in the British Grand Prix? At Silverstone, sorry.
Wait there. Seventeen?
17. What are you not? Have you missed out some of the track?
Yeah. I think I cut the corner.
Yeah, you cut 1 corner, it's 18. Right, and question 10. True or false, Lewis Hamilton took the lead of the World Championship in 2016 after the British Grand Prix, after his victory at the British Grand Prix?
Did he not? True.
False, I'm afraid. It's a bit of a bad question, I'm afraid, because it's not great being British, but yeah, Nico Rosberg he kept his lead that he'd built obviously from 43 points, and he basically kept getting cut down, apart from the European Grand Prix at Baku, kept getting cut down. He then took the lead, Lewis Hamilton took the lead after his victory in Hungary. You got 3 out of 10, mate.
Very, very poor, I must say. There were some very tricky questions in there, but that's no excuse. I'm British and I should know my British Grand Prix. Unfortunately I don't, so that's your fault. Anyways, that's it for Friday the Great. Hopefully you've enjoyed it and enjoy the British Grand Prix, and back to the studio. I'm going to see that.
it's been a long time since we had half points in Formula 1, and we actually do now. So at the halfway stage, honestly, guys, at the halfway stage, Jordan is leading me by half a point. That is crazy. Honestly, that really is. That really, really is cool. Like, wow, it's a bit of a blowout. It reminds me of the 84 gap between Prost and Niki Lauda when he lost the championship by half a point. And half a point, and now we're approaching obviously Hungary, which is the first round of the second part of the season, the latter half. And Jordan, I mean, 0.5. It won't last long, or will it? And but at least you're leading after halfway, so you must be feeling quite good.
To be fair, 0.5 ahead, I'm like, I could have been further ahead, but you know, I've just got to do the best with what I've got. So I'm hoping that I extend my lead. I think the next one I'm doing is Belgium, I think. So that's going to be a key one. Obviously, straight after the summer break. So let's hope the second part of the season is going to be a good one. So obviously, make sure that you stay tuned to stick around and see how actually we get on with Fry the Grid. That's right. So obviously the next part is where we're basically just going to discuss some random main topics going into the British Grand Prix, whether that's drivers, teams, or maybe even some scenarios or whatever. Just basically whatever we feel is relevant to talk about for the British Grand Prix. And now my first topic, let's say, is going to be last race weekend's race winner, Valtteri Bottas. Now, superb drive without a doubt, as we just said before in the predictions. I mean, from the word go, literally, it was just away with it. It reminded me of the Sebastian Vettel days of obviously going through Formula 1, where he just basically on pole position, and that was it. That's the latter stage of 2013, the second half of 2013, where Vettel, literally, I remember that infamous moment going down the Kemmel Straight, where he overtook Hamilton. And then from that moment, it was like, even though Red Bull was struggling, I wouldn't say struggling, but they were a bit off form, overtook Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes, and it was like, that was the moment Vettel won every single race. And that's what it felt. Obviously, he didn't overtake anybody, but that's what it felt like. He just went with it, and he was just gone. And Valtteri Bottas was never seen again. Now, everyone is tipping him to be a title contender coming into obviously the second part of the season. Now, he was pretty much written off at the start because obviously it was just big media coverage between Hamilton and Vettel. It was Hamilton winning one and Vettel winning one. But when we came to Russia, it was like, oh, it's going to be Hamilton, it's going to be Vettel. No. It was like, mother said, guys, I'm going through. It was literally Valtteri Bottas just basically put his foot in the door and said, right, now, it's my turn now. I'm one of these guys. So to get a race win, it's absolutely incredible. Obviously, it's something that's very difficult to do in Formula 1, whether that's 1 or 52 or 55, whatever Lewis Hamilton's on now. But, or 91, obviously, in Schumacher's case. But to do it twice, it's that's even more impressive, because that means it's like, if you win one race, which is like what Max Verstappen is under, you're under that bit of pressure of becoming a one race wonder, and you're like, nobody wants that. It's not really a good accolade to have, is it? A one race wonder. It's like, yeah, you got lucky in that Grand Prix. So obviously to do it again for Valtteri Bottas, that was absolutely incredible. Now he joins an elite group of Finnish drivers to win more than one Grand Prix. I think he's the fourth to do it, alongside Keke Rosberg, Mika Hakkinen, and Kimi Räikkönen. So in a very elite group of obviously Valtteri Bottas, in there as well. Obviously overtaking Heikki Kovalainen, who obviously was a one race wonder. Now, obviously, I'm going to be talking about Valtteri Bottas because he has a very good chance of winning this Grand Prix should he have his strategy right. And obviously, I don't think Lewis Hamilton is going to have any sort of trouble, so I think it's going to be quite a close race between them. But I think because Hamilton's at home, he's going to win the Grand Prix, and I think that's what's going to give him the edge over in qualifying and in the race. But let's not discount Valtteri Bottas from a race win or even challenging for the championship, because I think he's about 35 points away from Sebastian Vettel. That isn't a long win. That's like a win in P7. That's P1, and I think that's P3 or P4. So that is very, very possible should any of them two, come to blows like we've seen in the past. One of them have a failure. We've seen the Mercedes can fail. Sebastian Vettel is probably due a failure. He's been off at some form recently, so it can happen at any single stage. So, Lyle, do you think Valtteri Bottas, one, has a good chance at actually challenging for the win this weekend, judging from his form in Austria, and two, have a good chance at actually winning the title, or actually having a shout at the title this season, when actually it was written off at the start because of this battle between Hamilton and Vettel?
Well, I definitely think it's amazing to think that he's not a one race wonder, and he's not a one trick pony. He's had pole position before, and he's had a race win before, and then he does it again, he has another race win. When you said, obviously, it reminds you, and I was thinking, at that moment, obviously, I was going to say Pastor Maldonado in Spain 2012. He was a one-race winner, obviously, yeah, but I do remember that was a fantastic race, and obviously after all the the ripping that Pastor Maldonado gets, that was a great race, and also that race kind of reminded me of that one, because obviously in that race in 2012, obviously which was fantastic, obviously great, last day of the Premier League season as well. I'll never forget that. Obviously, it was great because Pastor was leading the race. He lost the race lead a few times in the lap, again a bit like Valtteri, obviously the Kimi right in a Ferrari, but because obviously in that year he was battling Fernando Alonso, a Ferrari driver, and that's the same with this year. He was battling Sebastian Vettel, the Ferrari driver, and that's why it was special, because it was like we were expecting Ferrari to win. We're expecting like this kind of, there's no adversary to overcome, but he really did. And I know it was a Mercedes, but still, it's a new driver. And obviously, again, before the season, we've discussed many times, Peter was saying that he wasn't going to be a Rosberg. Even though Jordan said he'd win the championship, but still, he's not a Rosberg, and he's not a Rosberg. He's actually not beating a Rosberg, but he's becoming another driver. He's becoming a Bottas, obviously, as obviously, and that line of Finnish drivers. He's not going to win the World Championship, but he's definitely there to contest. Throw his hat in the ring in his first season, which is great. A bit like Lewis Hamilton in 2007, and I guess that's what people will start, referring him to when it gets later on in the season. So I'm going to say it now. I'm going to say Bottas is going to become a Hamilton 2007. Somebody who will win races. Obviously, as we know, obviously his first win was round 7 at that time in 2007. Obviously Hamilton in Canada. So obviously 10 years when he won. Obviously a few races ago. Really great by him. So I'm going to say Bottas is going to become a Hamilton like 2007. Throwing his hat in the ring in terms of winning the championship. But really strong driver. He's not going to win this race because of Hamilton. The team will unless there's a big problem in terms of who's taking the lead, like obviously is Hamilton going to have a problem or whatever, but in terms of team like orders and that, I think it's going to be Hamilton goes forward, because obviously second place, he's in touching distance of Sebastian. He might not do it this round, but he probably isn't going to do it this round, because obviously he needs 20 points. That's just under, let's say a race win. Obviously Seb scoring till 8th place, obviously that's probably not going to happen this round, but he'll be cutting it down. And Valtteri, and also it's his home race, for Lewis Hamilton, it's his home race, so he probably will be ahead. That's like going to be the team kind of orders, but I think Valtteri knows that. I think he's going to respect Lewis Hamilton for that, and he's kind of going to say, right, I'm going to take a step back, because obviously I know that it's your home race. I'm going to try myself, but I'm not going to try, I'm not going to go on this aggressive stance towards you, because that's the home race. I'm going to not let you win, but really, it's your time to shine, really. A bit like, obviously we've seen that in other drivers, a bit like Brazil 2011, when Seb stood over for Mark to win the race. I know Seb had a problem with the car, but that was obviously a nice, show of like who wants to win more. But yeah, Valtteri is going to have a good chance, and he's definitely going to throw his hat in the ring for this season. And as I said, Lewis Hamilton 2007, I'm going to say that's definitely my comparison. So obviously on to Lewis Hamilton, the guy to talk about. 151 points in the World Championship, very, very strong from him. Sebastian Vettel's led from the get-go. He won in Australia, and he's led all the rounds he's led all the rounds so far. Very strong from him, and that's really the battle that we're really focused on. Obviously, as Jordan said, the inter-team battle isn't there, because obviously people weren't thinking that was going to happen, but obviously Bottas, 2 wins, he's coming forward, and he's throwing his hat in the ring. But that's what really is to focus on. But Lewis, he's coming into his home race. That's the thing. You can't... Lewis Hamilton, he's coming into his home race. You can't knock him off that form. Really, really strong from him. And obviously one of the stats that kind of did stand out, it didn't really stand out for last season, because obviously he didn't do it, but heading into the race last year it did, because obviously he's won the British Grand Prix in every year that he's won the World Championship. A bit like how you could guess when we mentioned it in the first half. He won it in 2008, obviously great race as well. Then he won the championship in 2008. He won in 2014, the new era with Mercedes and the V6 turbos. Then he went on to win the World Championship. He won in 2015, which that was a Sebastian Vettel 2011 or 2013, a domination completely by Hamilton. That was great, that. And I think even about 10 laps into the race in 2015, people probably thought, it's Hamilton, it's hammer time. Just nobody else better even. Nobody else bother turn up. You may as well just stay in your houses, because obviously he's got this. And obviously 2016, he won the race. Fantastic race in the rain. Really great. Flawless as well. And honestly, you probably couldn't get this from the telly, and we're probably making assumptions that other people won't. But we were watching the race at turn 1 in Abbey, and it's a flat out corner, and obviously the drivers were going as close to flat out as they could in the rain, and they were really testing the limitations. We saw, I think, every single driver almost every single driver, but obviously Lewis Hamilton go off at that corner. We saw the likes of Fernando Alonso, Jenson Button, Pascal Wehrlein, Rio Haryanto go off. We saw Max Verstappen go off. We saw Daniel Ricciardo have a bit of a wiggle there. We saw loads of drivers struggling in that corner. Sebastian Vettel ran wide, apart from Lewis Hamilton, who did a flawless win, and the home crowd was behind him. No grass can be seen, as John said, and obviously it's an amazing for Lewis to win at his home crowd. Obviously, that's great to think that he's won, the championship every round. Obviously, bar one, he's won the championship, apart from last year, but it's his home race, John, and I mean, that's the only thing you can say about Lewis Hamilton. He's either first, second, third, fourth, or he could be in last place alongside the McLarens. It doesn't matter. Once he sees the sign that says Silverstone, his mind will switch to, it's his home race, do what he does best, and as Bono says, it's hammer time. Elbows out, it's hammer time.
Exactly. It's every single F1 British driver's dream to even race at Silverstone. You know what I mean? Even for Julian Palmer, it's going to be a very special event. Even though he's not doing so well, it's still going to be a very emotional. He's like, oh my god, I'm driving at Silverstone. But probably not only that for the British drivers, for other drivers as well, because it's like, this is heritage. This is where it all began for us. If this was still an airbase, what I'm doing right now might not have been possible. So that's what you're trying to think about. So it's one of them just events that, like, even if you're not British, it feels like your home event. You know what I mean? Whether you're Australian, American, or you're from a different country in Europe, you honestly feel like it's your home Grand Prix. And Lewis Hamilton shows that affection better than anybody at any other home Grand Prix. When Ricciardo's at Australia, yeah, of course, he's happy and everything, but Lewis Hamilton's emotions and everything just seem to go overboil, basically, just overflow, and just like it just goes. It's just really nice how he shows it and everything. Like last year, he said it was his best atmosphere he's ever seen at the British Grand Prix, because us two were there. That's what I always say.
But the thing is, he started crowd surfing, which we missed.
He did.
Actually, no, we weren't, because Jordan was running to try and catch that. I was crowd surfing myself. They were just carrying us down. But that's how great it was.
It's Lyle from there for the bit. It's Elsie from there for the bit. It's Elsie. Wow.
But now it's going to be Lyle, so people might not recognise. They might be looking for an Elsie. There might be big signs.
Elsie.
Where's Elsie? Elsie. And they'll be like, who's Lyle? It's Elsie. How are you? And it's JT's or Jordan. No one will know him. There's probably thousands of Jordans there. Someone just runs up to him and goes, I'm JT, I'm Jordan. No, you're not. We're looking for...
I am the JT, is it? No,
he is the JT. But anyway, yes. So, yeah. That's our crowd surfing done for. I'll just have to do that again on Saturday.
But obviously, yes. Do you just quickly want to remind everyone what you're doing on Saturday?
Yes, obviously. I'm going down. It's just for one day, just for the qualifying. Obviously, pretty good tickets. They weren't badly priced in that. Obviously, just driving down for the day. Very exciting though. Obviously, past all the grandstands will be great. It looks like an amazing day. We've got some great events going on. Obviously, GP3. Formula 2, Formula 1, and obviously loads of track parades, including Williams at 40, which I don't know too much of the details, but we believe it's going to be a track parade of all the old cars. Obviously, interviews by Frank Williams, Claire Williams, all of that people, and obviously another drivers' parade where people like Lewis Hamilton will be on the interview, obviously on the stage. In the middle of Silverstone Circuit, which would be great to see, and yeah, I just can't wait. Obviously, it would be better if Jordan was coming. We could make a bit of an F1 debate show thing out of it, but obviously it'll be great. And obviously, I'm vlogging it as well. We're putting it on the channel. Give it a few days, and it'll be really, really great. But yeah, I can't wait. Obviously, commiserations, Jordan. But yeah,
no, it's alright. I'll be chilling. Watching it on the TV. Just be like, yeah, just on my own. But anyways, yes, so obviously just briefly on Lewis Hamilton there. I mean, yes, as like I said before, he'll want to win this Grand Prix more than anybody. He'll show his emotions, he'll show how much he loves this place. I mean, which is why I think he is more or less guaranteed to win, just because of how much support is coming in for him. Even if you're not a Lewis Hamilton fan, and I know there's a lot of Lewis Hamilton haters out there, you've deep down inside you know that you're happy to see Lewis Hamilton at Silverstone. I know fine well you are. I'm not a Hamilton fan myself anymore. I used to be, but not anymore. Because I'm not a glory supporter. I stick true to my roots, as you can clearly tell. Yeah. But I am happy to see Hamilton do well at Silverstone, and then after Hungary, I'm not really that bothered anymore about him. But speaking of Silverstone, it's this thing is like just basically it's almost like one of them like really annoying spots that you get on your skin. It's like, oh, I've got a really itchy spot. It goes. And then you forget about it, and then all of a sudden it just crops back up, and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? And you're like, and again, this situation is like a life problem where like I'll forget about it. Just you bury it for a bit, for a couple of months, and you're like, oh, everything's fine. I forgot all about it, and then all of a sudden, bang, I'm there. It's like, whoa, oh no. Everything goes pear-shaped. Now this is one of the scenarios where it's now emerged in the media that Silverstone is now on the brink of actually losing all rights to the British Grand Prix by 2019. Now they have a break in their contract where they can basically say to the FIA, look, I don't want this race anymore. Buy us out. We're away. Bear in mind that they're already contracted till 2027, which is 10 years away. So absolutely a long way away yet. But obviously that means that they can't really afford the rights and obviously the coverage, the host to host the British Grand Prix. Now, it would be sad to say leave Silverstone should this actually happen. But I'm just going to touch on what David Coulthard was saying, the other DC, the less fortunate DC, let's say, where he basically said, look, there is going to be a British Grand Prix. It's just going to be somewhere else. Now, I'm going to leave a bit of a poll with you guys. Would you rather have the British Grand Prix at another event, not Silverstone, at another venue, either Donington or Brands Hatch, or have no British Grand Prix at all? It's either Silverstone or nothing. So either do you want to add another track, or do you want to add Silverstone or no British Grand Prix at all? That's a question for you. That's a question for Lyle.
When you said about leaving a poll for our fans, do you mean you're going to leave a big Robert Kubica in the comments section?
I'm sure I can call it Rob Kubica. I've got his phone number somewhere.
That didn't take much thought. I was just about to say that as you said that, but yeah, I mean, Silverstone, it's one of those circuits that it's the mecca of Formula One. It really is. I mean, they've had obviously many alterations with the track before. It really is great. Obviously, one of the four oldest ones, obviously alongside Monza, Spa, and where am I going with this? Monaco, Monza, Spa, and yeah, there we go. I'm back. So it'd be great to see. It really, it's the home. It really is a home of motorsport. Obviously, really great scenery, really great place. Obviously, in the middle of greens, England's green and pleasant land, not too far away from London. Really, it's amazing. And as well as Donington Park and Brands Hatch are great circuits. Have them. But have them running parallel to the British Grand Prix. Call them something else. I mean, we've had Stewart's Grand Prix. We've had other names other than nationality, other than country names. Call it something else. Have it another race. We'd love to have another race in Britain, but it needs to have Silverstone in it. I mean, it's lovely. I mean, they've spent all that money making that new concourse, for the 2011 British Grand Prix. I mean, they don't want that all to go to waste, do they? But that's the thing. When you see it, it's one of those things. It's really annoying. It's very much like what John said about the rash, about the spot that you got on your skin. It's like you just don't know where it comes from. You don't know where this news comes from because Silverstone, it's amazing. You think of all them fans, and we were talking about that before. We were talking about that even during the recording. We were saying obviously you go to this race and there's only three things you can see. You can see obviously like the motorhomes and that, and the camping. You can see the track and the cars. And then you can see the fans, just fans. When I said about that England's green and pleasant land, you can't even see any of that. It's just fans. Honestly, it's incredible. I mean, the general admission, just for example, like using our what we saw when we went. We were sitting in Abbey, but then you had everyone else downstairs, who was stand general admission, and you just thought like that would just be grass, that wouldn't be anything, because obviously it's in front of our grandstand. But the amount of people that were there, honestly, it was amazing, And I honestly, I mean, truth for told, I mean, it's great to go to a race, but if you stand in that melee, I don't know how much of the race you'd have saw, because obviously you'd have just been, packed in with all these fans, true loyal fans though, and that's why I can't believe that Silverstone's going. With all those fans comes all this money and all this popularity. And, that's the things that keeps an FIA race on the calendar. You know what I mean? Popularity and money. And that's what I feel like Silverstone has. We know for a fact that it has, because obviously, as I say, I mean, we went last year. We went in 2010 as well. Obviously, we know all this public. We know how special the race is. And I don't know where this rubbish that it's leaving is coming from. It really is strange. But honestly, I mean, it's a bit sad, really. But I don't think it'll go. I hope it doesn't, obviously, until it goes in 2027, which again, I mean, it can re-sign. But it needs to stay. And as I say, other races can come in, but Silverstone needs to stay. Anyway, on to the next thing that we're going to talk about, and again, as I just mentioned about the Saturday qualifying, they're doing track parade. It's Williams at 40 years for Williams, very special. Now, we did the F1 debate show, I've forgotten what number it was, I think it was 54, 55, I think, that was dedicated to Williams. And that was obviously solely about Williams. We talked about them coming through, obviously, since they formed, obviously, 40 years ago. We talked about the origins of Sir Frank Williams, again, from South Shields, as I say. I mean, you know, stone's throw away from where me and Jordan live, you know, really great place. Claire Williams, you know, obviously educated in Newcastle. Obviously, that's where she got her, you know, idea to build Williams, well, you know, work with Williams and obviously all their wins. So basically, their car that they have on at the moment, that was designed with a Geordie brain in, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? That's where it came from. I mean, she could have been, you know, at Wetherspoons and got the same cinema that we do and all that, you know, so it's very special from that. But really great from them, really great. They're an amazing team, obviously based in Oxfordshire, really strong from them, obviously really great backing. It's an amazing team. Obviously they've had some great drivers in the past, they've had some unbelievable times. Obviously, as I say, they've had Ayrton Senna, they've had, you know, they've had great people in that team, really great. And it's 40 years old for that, and that's really an amazing, you know, feat for that team, for Sir Frank Williams, obviously all that he's been through. By the way, also August 4th, I believe it is, that's when the movie comes out, obviously the documentary / movie that comes out on the big screen, just called Williams. You know, it's about just Williams. It's about how Sir Frank Williams came up.
In case you didn't know.
Yeah, it's about Mario Kart. It's about Sir Frank Williams, how he came up. Obviously, hoping that we'll get some shots of South Shields and stuff like that. You might even see me and Jordan in the background waving away. And you know, very special from that. Obviously, about Claire Williams again. You might get some shots of Newcastle. You know, where she went to university. And that's how it comes up. You know, they have some interviews of, you know, they have some great interviews with Nigel Mansell, people like that, you know, even people that didn't drive for Williams, talking about the team, talking about the drivers, talking about the cars, and obviously, you know, most recent drivers, obviously Valtteri Bottas, Felipe Massa, and Lance Stroll. Great from those. Obviously, talking about one of my favourite years of Williams, 2014. Well, that was one of my favourites in modern day, and obviously, again, like what we've seen. The Williams win in 2012 was special, but that was a very special one that I saw. Obviously, 2014, fantastic year from them, finished in 3rd place, and they did that again in 2015. But let's talk a little bit about Williams, you know, in current days. Started the season out pretty slowly, so they have Felipe Massa, as we know, you know, retire, you know, second Formula 1 career, and Lance Stroll. Skeptics were getting at him a bit. You know, slated before Canada his home race, then he comes out and wows us, wins the only point. Obviously, Baku, Azerbaijan, very strong from them, 15 points, and Austria was okay. I was expecting more from them because, as I've said to John before, 2014 they locked out the front row with Valtteri Bottas and Felipe Massa, so I was expecting a lot more from them, but they're heading into the home race, and honestly, I mean, very strong from them. There is 2 teams that have proper British roots, and that's McLaren and Williams. Unfortunately, Manor are no more, which is a shame. Obviously, you know, British fans, they saw them last year. They won't see them this time, which is a bit of a shame. And, you know, McLaren are, you know, plumb last. Even worse than 248, like I said last time. And so Williams, they lead the way now in terms of, like, the British teams. 40 years old. Amazing support, amazing crowds, and obviously the 2 drivers will be loving it. Felipe Massa driven this track a lot, you know, very skilled in Silverstone, in the wet and things like that. And Lance Stroll, happy to be here and very happy after his amazing podium in Baku as well. So, Jordan, Williams, 40 years old, obviously northeastern roots, very strong. We praise them a lot, and as I say, they're 40 years old at the British Grand Prix. They can do nothing but amaze, can't they?
Exactly. I mean, obviously, it's a very special achievement to become at like 40 years old as a team as well. I'm sure Frank Williams and Claire Williams will be absolutely elated with that. To actually keep the team afloat, obviously, because obviously in the early days it's very hard to keep a business stable. Obviously, I think the financial fair play in Formula 1 back in the 70s and 80s was very unfair. So when new teams came in, it was pretty much, you would probably see them out within the first 2 or 3 years. A lot of people would like talk about that, about how the financial thing was just really unfair. It was all wrong basically. But to keep the team afloat was absolutely amazing. To win races was even better. To then win championships was just another thing. And that's something that Frank Williams can carry with him for the rest of his life. And now Claire Williams as well, who's now basically took the keys off her dad and now is now running the family business, which is a big achievement, isn't it? Not only that, but you're running your Formula 1 team. So like you're now the pilot in the plane. Be very careful. It's a highly skilled job that only certain people can do. Obviously, she went to Newcastle to educate about that. I hope the Geordie knowledge does her well. It's doing alright so far, you know, fairly average, you know. We can't really complain, but no, it is nice to see Williams at 40. I'm pretty sure that another 40 years is to come as well, but obviously with now Claire Williams at the helm, I'm pretty sure when she reaches like the peaks of 50 and 60, she can then hand it to her children, and then obviously so forth. I believe she's pregnant as well as we speak, so again that'll be obviously to see her child the grandson of Frank Williams maybe at the helm.
Generations in Formula One. Generations in Formula One would be great. And obviously, as we know, in terms of drivers as well, how special is that? We have something like 3 or 4 drivers on the paddock, obviously, at the moment, who are sons. Obviously, the Magnusens, the Verstappens, the Palmers, and I think that is it. Oh, the Sainz as well. Yes, so four people, as I said. Yeah. It's obviously very, very special from them. We know that generations games are important. Obviously, as Jordan said, you know, 2 at the moment is great, but let's see if we can get it to 3. I mean, that would be fantastic.
That would be really, really impressive. Very excited to see it in the future. But obviously, guys, that's where we're going to wrap up the GP preview show. Thank you very much for watching. Whoa, something just like through my window there. Scared the living hell.
Chucking eggs at you.
Scared the hell out of me there. But anyways, thank you very much for watching, guys. Don't forget to catch us at the F1 debate show on Saturday, the GP preview show. Obviously, enjoy the British Grand Prix as well. Obviously, if anyone that is going. Anyways, guys, we've been the F1 debate show, and we'll see you later.
See you later, guys.